Huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
A new year means it's time for a new home network that can keep up. With Cox Internet, you have the speed and coverage your family needs to stay connected. You'll enjoy Cox's fiber-based hybrid network with options for fast upload and download speeds. And if your household has lots of connected devices, Panoramic Wi-Fi may be the perfect fit thanks to its additional control features. Plus, with advanced security on Panoramic Wi-Fi, you'll know each connected device is securely protected 24/7. A whole world of connectivity is yours with Cox Internet. Learn more at cox.com.
All right, here we go. A lot of stuff coming up for you tonight. I think it's the Dems' demise. Doom! Doom! All on Sunday night with Al and Ray. Let's go.
One moment, please. Technical difficulties on the X feed. I'll get it back up in just a second. Hang on, folks. Something happened. I'm trying to find him again. I thought it was on my side, but it may be on his. Where did he go? All right, hang on. More than one way to skin a cat. One moment, please. Okay, that's weird.
Sure.
There we go. I found him
I just
again.
had this
All right.
huge update from MicroSlut, and I think the MicroSlut update has done something to my computer. So it's no big deal. I'll just plug in my little Samsung Galaxy tablet, which I used to go from all the time. The audio quality suffers just a little bit because of the way it has to be hooked up. But you know what? It's a podcast. What do you want? So guys in chat, thank you for joining. Hey, if you're catching me, if I'm breaking up or if you just don't hear anything at all, let me know. But hopefully the sound's okay. We're just gonna do this. I got no choice. I have to bloviate for an hour on the microphone. Can hear the Al? There we go. Anyways, welcome to the show. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're enjoying the weekend. I got a 4-day weekend this weekend, and I did some things. I got the lawn looking like golf turf. There wasn't a huge amount of fireworks. They're up until like 11 o'clock at night, everybody would just shut down. The person who had the most obnoxious, loud 1-2 o'clock in the morning fireworks is in prison right now, and he's not ever getting out ever. So those are gone. Wow, it looks like I'm dropping off and on. Could be the internet. It sucks if it does. I'm just going to keep going. I mean, there's not a lot I can do. Hopefully it airs on the podcast. So, it's been a crazy one. Anyways, so first things first, we got this Hurricane Barrel. Is it Barrel? The heck kind of name is Hurricane Barrel? What is category that? BRYL. Who names this crap? Going to destroy the entire planet. You know, it's coming to Texas. It's going to.
Okay, now I have shoe feeds playing. For some reason.
Right now it's not huge. It was supposed to be like this category 8 bazillion. Going to destroy the entire planet. It looks like it's just barely going. I don't know. Climate change. Yada yada. Doom. But it looks like it's just barely going. I don't know. It may really catch speed. I don't know. I don't live where there's hurricanes. I'm not going to live where there's hurricanes. I was just in the area where there's hurricanes and I left because it's hurricane season. But nonetheless, okay, don't wait till the last minute to go out and get provisions. Don't be stupid. If you're told to leave, leave. You should already have necessities. You should already have canned goods that you can open up and a can opener or whatever. You don't really need a can opener these days. Some of it you do, but you should already have canned goods that you can open and heat up in a can if you have to. You should already have high calorie, vacuum packed, trail mix, nuts, things that you can eat that can sustain you. You should already have all of that stuff ready to go. You live in a hurricane area. You should always have a supply and rotate it out. We're having one heck of a summer here. I mean, we've had a couple of pretty bad storms. We've had power outages. We've had trees getting knocked down. It's like the 70s. And of course, you know, the climate alarmists are going to stand up and they're going to screech, climate change. So I have one thing for them. I have to ask them a question. I have to ask them a question. Outside of killing off half the population, what is your answer? You're paving thousands and thousands of acres of land, destroying ecosystems, taking it away from nature, where deer and the antelope can no longer play. And seldom is heard anything because it's all paved over with these giant, glassy, black, hellscape-looking solar panels that are going to warm up the atmosphere because there's heat coming off of them, because that's what they do. So tell me, what is your answer? You don't have one, because every time you ask somebody point blank, okay, what's the answer? Well, everybody's got to live in a shipping crate and eat bugs. Okay, that's not going to change a darn thing. It's not going to change anything. Well, the cows have to stop farting. No, vegans have to stop farting. We have a volcano erupting right now that's spewing more junk into the atmosphere than every cow has spewed probably for the past 300 years. What are you going to do? Go plug that up? And this is what I always propose to them when it shuts them up. It shuts them up. They get stumped when I say, it's like, you know what? Well, what if we reduce the size of the government 85%? And they'll look at you with this deer in the headlights. Look, it's like, look, according to the 2017 study, the federal government is the largest consumer of goods and services in the world. The United States federal government, the largest consumer of goods and services in the world, and it is America's largest source of pollution. And by that, I mean the federal government as a whole, which includes the military, any of their subsidies or contracts, whatever. They're killing the planet. So suffice it to say, if you really want to save the planet, doesn't it make sense to get rid of most of the government? You can't do that. Oh, no, our government. Yeah, what about your government? I may have to do something. I may have to work. I may have to not depend on the government. Then what? Well, what can you say? Yes, not the livestock. They don't know what to do. But they don't want to tell you this. They really don't want to tell you this. They don't want to come out and actually say it live. But that is exactly what they want. They want half of the population of the planet to die. They want to cut everything in half and increase the power, the size, the scope, and of course, the expenditure of the federal government. They don't want to really do anything for a living from now on. They just want to sit there and let the government spoon feed them, control them, tell them what to do from the moment they wake up to the moment they die. What they don't understand is if half the population dies, the odds of them dying are pretty good because most people want people in the United States gone. So there you have it. I try not to get too gloomy and doomy, but I mean, what else can you do? I mean, we're watching some really interesting things this week. So we got this hurricane, Burl. Who names this crap? Somebody ought to be flogged for that. Heading to Texas. If you're in Texas, and I got a lot of people that I love in Texas, guys, seriously, all seriousness, you should already be prepared. You should already be ready for this. You should have been ready for this the moment that it was even hinted at. Well, the moment that the hurricane season started, because the odds of one of them hitting Texas are pretty good. But we might feel the effects of Burl all the way up into Michigan, the way it's going to come, some of these string things I'm looking at, the predicted paths, it might hit Texas, hit wind shears, and come straight up, and Michigan might get hit by a hurricane. That's all we need, more rain. It already looks like a jungle out in my backyard. It really seriously does. So anyways, that's right off the bat. First thing. If you're in the hurricane path, if you're told to get out, don't screw around. Don't be big and bold and brave, and get somewhere safe. Make sure you got provisions. Make sure you have a 72-hour bag. I preach it on this show all the time. Please, God, do as I say. Anyways, so nerd time. I did a Parks on the Air activation with my ham radio today. It was a place I've never been before, Crystal Lake State Game Reserve, just east of Milan, Michigan. Beautiful place. I'd never even really heard of it. I knew it was up there. Apparently, looking at the records, the POTA activator website, apparently I've got some friends that have activated it. Very few. It's not really high on the radar. But it was a good time. The band conditions absolutely sucked. They were horrible. Oh, we got Ordy in the chat. We got Rick, Rowdy Rick. Rowdy Rick is streaming me over the KLRN Twitter site because for some reason the site we use, the method we use to stream over that is just not working on my computer. And I think it's that same download. I think my computer might be a little screwed until the next update. We got Crow. Welcome, Crow. Of course, we got Jeff, we just heard. Guys, thanks for jumping into chat with me. Anyways, so I go to this place, and the band conditions were absolutely horrid. Horrid. I had to find like three different frequencies before I actually got one that was clear enough to actually get a hold of some people. And once I started, I activated. I got about 18, or actually 14. I think officially I got 14 responses, which you only need 10 to activate a park. But it was very, very rough. None of the reports were really all that great. There was the one that was actually out from Nova Scotia, Canada. And it was really kind of weird because my contacts for this ham radio, these contacts were from Nova Scotia all the way to Northeast Texas. Northeast Texas and Florida and Georgia were coming in like gangbusters. They were great. Everybody that I got from them, just a really nice signal report. And all I was using was my just usual, I threw a ham stick on a magnet up on top of my truck and used the truck as counterpoise. Not the optimum thing. I should have not been lazy and put up a better antenna. I will next time. But what I did notice is this, and I've been telling you guys this for a while now. I've made that little QRP, that 5-watt bag. It's a small bag, less than a foot by about 8 inches by about 4 inches thick. It's probably weighs about 5 pounds total. And this has a trail. This place I went to has a trail. It's about a 5-mile trail. And you can get to the top of this hill in about 25, 30 minutes. And I think that is where I'm going to do the first actual live Parks in the Air test with that QRP rig. It's not going to be a day like today where the band conditions are crappy and it's 80 degrees. It really wasn't a bad day. 80 degrees was pretty nice. There you go. Crow lives in Texas, has ammo. He's prepared. But you have food, you have fresh water. I'm sure you got all that stuff. If you're smart enough to have ammo, you're smart enough to have the rest. Yeah, Crow. I trust you. I know you. But anyways, that's going to be where I actually do the live test for my QRP rig. Now, still on the prepper thing here. I'm still on prepper thing because let's face it, to me and a lot of other people just like me, ham radio is a fun hobby with a very crucial underlying reason that we are ham radio operators. And that reason is when the proverbial doo-doo hits the fan, we are still communicating. We can communicate on the run. We can communicate locally. We can communicate very, very far in the distance. Like I said, I was communicating with people. I had check-ins from Nova Scotia, Ontario, Canada, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arkansas. There was a couple of them from Arkansas. Go Hogs. My daddy was an Arkansas boy. So that gives you a little bit of a clue. And this is something, I mean, this radio is my Zygo G90. I was carrying it around in a waterproof case, and it weighs about 10 pounds. It's got the battery and everything in it. It's a little heavy. I mean, you wouldn't want to carry it for 20 miles. I mean, you could, but you really wouldn't want to. But it's all self-contained. You just open up the lid. You can take out everything. You can even have a wire antenna in there. You can string it all up and go. The QRP rig weighs about 5 pounds. You put it on your shoulder, and you don't feel it. You can walk for miles and miles and miles and never feel the thing at all. So the QRP rig gets tested out because if I really have to grab and go, that is what I'm going to grab and go. If I can grab and go and take my truck, I will throw the G90 in with a couple extra batteries. But that QRP rig with a small solar panel will get what I need. Short, concise communications and, 500, 600, 1,000 miles. If you want to set up what they call a near vertical skywave incident antenna, NVIS, near vertical incident skywave, that's what it is, NVIS antenna. What those do is they basically shoot the radio waves almost straight up, and they come down within a 50 to 30 mile radius, or 50 to 300 mile radius. So you can actually talk to people on HF frequencies right around you. You got to learn how to do these things. That's why when I say people, hear people go, well, I don't really need a ham radio license because if the crap hits the fan, I'm going to be able to just whip this radio out and I'll be able to communicate. No, it's like anything else. If you don't practice it, you're not going to be good at it. And you're going to be sitting there with a giant paperweight instead of a communication device. So you must practice it. That's one of the best reasons I can tell you to get a license. So you can practice it and not draw the attention of the FCCs. A lot of people don't agree with me on that. Well, you have that right to not agree with me. You really honestly have that right. But when things happen, like right now, up in the northern part of Michigan, mid-Michigan, on July 5th, there was a huge power outage. There's now down to only 739 customers, but that's quite an area up there because there's not a lot of people up there. But they're having a hard time restoring it because we've had some pretty damaging storms. We've had damaging storms come through this area just a couple of weeks ago in the cornfields of southeastern Michigan. I've got branches hanging off of a tree just outside of the studio window that I'm going to have to somehow get up there and get them down. It's a huge tree. We're going to have to knock the whole thing down, which is fine with me because that'll give me more room to put another antenna up. But, but I'm just saying, have your communications ready. This hurricane that's going into Texas, your cell phones have a good likelihood of being down. Your phone lines have a good likelihood of being down. It's not going to be down. People like me who have a small unit battery-powered HF radio and a license that can literally throw a wire up in a tree or even 15 feet high on some fence post somewhere and communicate halfway around the world and get myself out of trouble. Have people help me out. That's who's not going to be hurting for communications. So when you're adding to your groceries, your foods that you're going to have, your hurricane snacks, and don't eat your hurricane snacks all in the first hour, okay? Spread them out. You don't need to gain 10 pounds during the hurricane. Add communications to it. And if you don't feel like getting your ham radio license, you've got things like GMRS where you don't even have to take a test. You just apply for the license. You have family radio. If you have a wife and a couple of kids or significant other and whatever, your dog, you can use family radio and you're still going to get a decent coverage where you can talk to each other within, depending on how high up you are, you can still get about a mile or two on those. Even CB radios, if you know how to use them, even CBs, free to everybody, but they're only 4 watts, so they don't really push a lot, but you can still use them for neighborhood issues. All I'm saying is, remember communications when you're getting your bug out bag ready to rock and roll. Remember them. So there you have it. By golly, we've already reached 24 minutes into this stinking show, and I'm just getting warmed up, just starting to bloviate a little bit. We still got a lot more to talk about. When we come back, I don't have to tell you, I don't have to preach to the choir. It's been a very interesting week for the Democrat Party. Very interesting as in they're in turmoil. And I suspect something is going on that the media is trying to not really tell you about. As the media will, they spend a lot of time covering up for the left, excusing the left. Well, I think this time they're active participants, whether they're willing or not. We're seeing something going on. And when it finally comes to fruition, well, this might turn into an interesting election. I'm going to tell you right now. Because, I don't know. There's forces at work. It's going to make summer of 2020 look like a walk in the park. I'm Alan Ray. It's Sunday Night with Alan Ray. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Lord willing, and this whole thing keeps rolling and I stay on the air. Don't go anywhere.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
You know, Proverbs 10:26 says, as vinegar to the teeth and as smoke to the eyes, so is the fool to those that send him. I'm sure on a completely unrelated note, Joe Biden's going to be addressing the United Nations this coming week. To strike that, I think it's NATO. Either way, globalists, jerks, morons, people that want you and I dead. They don't want us alive. They definitely don't want us armed. Welcome back. I'm Alan Ray. This is Sunday Night with Alan Ray. God, I hope you're having a great week. Hope you're having a great weekend. It was Independence Day. One of my favorite holidays in the entire world. I love Independence Day. A lot of people get annoyed with the fireworks. I sit out on my back patio and I watch people launch them. I watch the neighbors launch them. I watch shows in different little towns that I can see from my little bungalow here in the cornfields of southeastern Michigan, soon to be the paved over solar hellscape, thanks to Gretsch. I'm not going to go off on that. I swear to God, I'm not going to go off on that again. I have spoke my mind. Anyways, so, hi. It's been an interesting week for the Democrat Party. And I want to point something out. Two things. Number one, Donald Trump, for as much as I have ripped on him and dogged him and got frustrated with him and wanted to kick him square in the hind end because he does not know when to stop talking, to shut his mouth, has been very quiet for the past week and a half. Is it because he isn't saying anything, or is it because the news, the media just don't know what to do if he does say something? He has been very quiet. Never, ever, ever interrupt your enemy when in the process of killing themselves. Number two, Donald Trump's been quiet. That's number one. Number two, my take, the Alan Ray take on everything that's been going on with Joe Biden and his horrible, no good, terrible. And that debate was, my gosh, it almost made you sick to your stomach to watch. if he wasn't such a slime bag, a Washington, D.C. embedded tick on the butt of this country, if he wasn't such a racist, misogynist jerk who has been the voice of stupidity for 45 years in our government, I would almost feel sorry for him. But I don't. I don't. Life has a way of coming back and just kicking you right in the butt. And that's what's happening to our current president of these United States. I believe, now I have nothing to back this up with, except for the vibe I'm getting. So this is just 100% pure me being a conspiracy theorist.
Do you comprehend, commie animal?
I believe we're seeing a coup. I believe we are seeing a uprising within the Democrat Party to overthrow this president. I believe that we are seeing neo-sos Democrat Party headed by Barack Hussein Obama. Of course, he's a communist. Everybody's like, oh, he's the greatest president ever. No, he's not. He's a freaking commie, and he's the reason that this country is really tanking right now. He set it up. He's the reason we have the surveillance state full tilt. It was bad enough under George Bush. Now we have it full tilt. I believe that the socialist commies are making their move to take over the Democrat Party officially, flat out. It's what it appears. Like I said, I got no proof. I believe the Soros-backed, Bill Gates-backed, World Economic Forum-backed communists smell the blood. They see the bleeding. And now is their chance. This is why I believe this. I'm going to tell you why. Now follow me along. Number one, you know darn well, you and I know, and my listeners, I know if you're listening to this show, you're either crazy or you actually care about what's going on in this world. You know that Joseph Biden's brain has been on the fritz since 2019 and before. Going into the primaries, the guy was blanking out. He was forced on the Democrat voters. I said this on Hardcore Patriot at the time. This is my quote. And I was laughing the whole time. It's unbelievable that the Democrat Party took a man who embodies everything that the Democrats profess to hate. Everything that they tell you they sexist, misogynist, open racist, white, wealthy, old man. Everything that the left loathes, the Democrat establishment took and shoved it right in their face and said, you will vote for this man, or you might as well vote for Trump. Now, it's still up in the air. The 81 million vote thing, I really have a hard time believing that 81 million people in this nation voted for Joe Biden. I really have a hard time believing that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am. The telltale was when all of the battleground states decided to close down at the exact same time. They've never done that before, but all of a sudden they all closed down at the same time. So, well, we'll just pick this up in the morning. And in the morning, lo and behold, surprise, 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 there was this huge bump, and it was 100% for Joe Biden, and he ended up winning all the battleground states. That's odd. Everybody went, that's curious. And of course, if you ask questions, say, that seems kind of odd. Well, they would stand up and start screeching, well, you're an election denier. Well, I'm not denying the election. I just have questions that the statistic odds of that actually happening are like winning $100 million in the lottery 2 times right in a row. It's almost an impossibility. But yet you're an election denier if you say anything about it. If you ask about it, if you say, I want proof. we need to investigate this. Election denier. Our attorney general right here in Michigan, the state of Michigan, and our secretary of state, who, by the way, was told to purge the voter rolls of all of the dead people, of all the names of the women who got married and changed their names and their maiden names are still on the voter rolls. People who had moved out of the state that had been gone for decades. She was told to purge them. The court told her to purge them. She never purged them. Hundreds of thousands of voters. And I bet if you start going through all of them, every one of them voted Democrat. I'm just throwing that out there. Anyways, I got off track, but let me get back to this. So we all of a sudden have this really, really, really bad debate. Biden choked. It was horrible. You felt bad for him. 2 weeks before that, not really even 2 weeks before that, we were being told by the media that all of these videos you see of him falling up and down stairs, all these videos where he just seizes up, wanders off, wanders around, has to be guided back by Jill, by the babysitter. All of these videos that you're seeing, well, they call them cheap fakes. They came up with a new name, cheap fake. It's really close to deep fake. And if you know about deep fake videos should scare you half to death because for all we know, we can have a dead president and everything you see by him is a deep fake video. It could happen. I mean, we have the technology. The stuff they use on regular consumer videos, that are kind of funny. Yeah, funny. Think about the technology that we have as a nation that they don't allow us serfs to have, us little peons to have. What's that like? We could quite honestly run a candidate that doesn't even exist between AI and deepfake videos. But I digress. They were quick to call them cheap fake videos. Oh, they weren't showing the whole thing. These right-wing extremists weren't showing the whole story. Well, all of a sudden you have a 2-hour debate. 2 hours of Joe Biden tripping over his tongue, of stuttering, saying wrong things, lying, flat out lying. They couldn't hide it. They can't hide it. There's no way for them to hide it. So they went into panic mode, and then they went into victim mode, like the left always does. They went into victim mode. The press, the left-wing media, the left-wing nut job media, went out and said, "Well, we feel slighted. We're the victims here. We were never told he was this bad. We were never told." Yes, you were. You were told over and over and over again. You were told. You were told every day for 4 years. You were told. But the narrative was that you were to protect the president at all cost and tell everybody who was questioning his mental, mental freezing, his cognitive lack of anything. You were told to not let anybody say anything bad about him. And all of a sudden that changed. Overnight, that changed. Yeah, for the first couple of days. And there's still some holdouts that are blaming everything from the lighting to the sound system to CNN and you name it. They're trying to blame. But all of a sudden the narrative is changing to Joe Biden's got to go. This man's beyond repair. He's going to hurt chances of everybody down ballot. Almost as if a message went out. And some of the press is establishment press. They're Democrat establishment press, and they will defend the Democrats. Whoever is in charge of the Democrats, they will defend them. But there's a lot of them that are neo-socialists and neo-communists, and all of a sudden they are starting to bang the drum that Joe has to go. Joe has to go. Joe has to go. Joe don't want to go. Joe's already come out in public and said, I'm not going. I'm running for president again. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to resign. I'm not going to withdraw from the race. But I think the Joe's got to go crowd is the same as the Soros crowd. Because let's face it, folks, it was the Democrat establishment who shoved Joe Biden in the faces of these neo-socialists, of these neo-communists. The Nancy Pelosi establishment Democrats shoved them in their faces and said, you have to vote for him, or you may as well be a Trumper, a MAGA. And they did. Well, now somebody that wants to change, fundamentally transform the face of the Democrat Party, smells blood. And I think that's what we're seeing here, folks. Time will tell. I may be wrong, and I will gladly admit when I'm wrong. I'm not the know-all, tell-all. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I've got the inside on these things. I look at it, scratch my head, and eat another piece of popcorn. And, wow, this is interesting. I think it's an insurrection. I think it's an internal coup against the Democrat establishment from the neo-socialists and the neo-communists who are wanting so very badly to run this country and know that if they can take over the Democrat Party, they have a shot at running the country because they are going to pretend that they're the establishment Democrats when we all know they're not. Now, one of two things that are going to happen. Either they're going to be successful, and they might be successful enough to take over this country for a while because people are stupid. They'll vote Democrat just because it's got a D in front of it. It's what their dad and their grandpa did, even though it's not the same Democrat Party. Or they're going to screw things up so very badly that the entire nation is going to turn against them. And this whole democracy, this whole mob rule, it's going to turn against them, and they're going to get thrown out into the ocean. And then they're going to sit out treading water saying, well, we need a system where the little guys can be heard too. Oh, you mean the Electoral College, that system? Yeah. Time will tell. I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you that that's the way it's going to be, but it sure does smell like there is an uprising within the Democrat Party, that there is an absolute attempted coup, a takeover of the Democrat Party before this coming election. They need to get it done before 2024, before November, because if this election happens and they're still not in power and Biden somehow pulls off the election, the establishment's going to come roaring back and kick these people to the curb, or at least make them so small and insignificant, because they've been being used as stooges up until this point. Antifa, the neo-communists, the neo-socialists, they've been used as stooges up to this point to bring in young little establishment, the hippies that are teaching the colleges and the schools, the young people that they're teaching, the little mini communists. They've been using these people to bring these people into the fold because, well, it aligns more with them politically, and we'll let you mutilate your genitals and paint your hair purple and act like something you're not. You can be a tree if you want. And they think they're being rebellious when actually they're just killing themselves. They're making themselves extinct. And when you hear something like, I don't know, morals, conservatism, even just leading a decent life, a life that nature agrees with, well, it's obscene to these people. They don't want any part of that. We're post-humans. We're better than humans. No, you're just killing yourself. And you're too stupid to realize it. So it's going to be interesting this next few months to see what happens in the Democrat Party. It really is. And what worries me is they are in charge. I mean, they are in power. They're in power, even though they sit there and they try very, very hard to tell you they're the victims, that they are the ones that are downtrodden. They're the ones that everybody hates. They're in charge of everything. They're in charge of the banks. They're in charge of the schools. They're in charge of all the institutions. We're finding out now that the FBI has been running anybody on the right out of the FBI. The Department of Justice has been running anybody on the right side of politics out of their department. It is now the brown shirts for the Democrat Party. And they look around and call everybody else a Nazi. We're heading into interesting times. It wouldn't even surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it wouldn't even surprise me that they get us right in the middle of World War III if they think they're going to lose this election. If they think that there's no hope to win this election, it wouldn't surprise me if they invade Russia or something stupid to get a bunch of us killed. None of that would surprise me. But I do believe that the Democrat Party is going to be taken over by socialists and communists. And then the socialists and communists will fight. Hopefully they'll kill each other. Oh, no, I didn't say that out loud. But anyways. Moving on. And let's get off of politics for a little bit because this is funnier yet. This is kind of weird, but I hit this article like 10 different pretty reliable sources. So I'm wondering what it means. The Earth's inner core has been slowing down since 2010, says scientists. Now, there's a problem. I mean, our poles are shifting around. Our poles are becoming unstable. North Pole, South Pole. Now, of course, man-made climate change has nothing to do with the weather we're having. No, it actually really does. Everything affects the weather. The solar maximum that we have, the sun pounding on the Earth right now, affects the weather. But they're playing witch doctor right now. They know this is all happening, and they're pointing it all out, going, see, climate change. You had a sunny day, that's climate change. You had a rainy day, that's climate change. I wonder what this is going to do. New research suggests that Earth's inner core has been slowing down for 14 years, which could mean the length of a day slightly increases. Oh, great. That's all we need is longer days. Thank you. This is according to Forbes magazine. Around 3,000 miles below the surface of the Earth's inner core is a sphere of solid iron nickel. Yeah, we know that. It's about the same size as the moon and surrounded by an outer core of liquid iron nickel outer core, which generates Earth's magnetic field. Above that outer core is a rocky mantle and finally the crust. Since it can't be seen or sampled, Earth's inner core is famously difficult to study. The easiest way to study the core is to get data from seismic waves produced by earthquakes. In this case, the researchers use seismic data from earthquakes and nuclear tests to analyze the inner core's movement. Scientists from the University of Southern California and the Chinese Academy of Sciences found that the Earth's inner core is slowing down in relation to the planet's surface. This change in the inner core's movement occurred around 2010. The paper suggests that the slowing result from the churning liquid of iron outer core and gravitational tugs from parts of the mantle. Now, remember, it says right in here that it's notoriously difficult to study. So they don't really know. But the research shows that the inner core is moving slightly slower instead of faster than the Earth's mantle for the first time in about 40 years. So that can't be good. Since the slowing of the inner core is expected to have implications for the length of a day simply because the slower it moves, the bigger the drag factor and the speed of which the Earth rotates. Since one rotation takes 24 hours and signifies one day, a slowing inner core will mean it takes longer for Earth to complete a rotation. However, it's expected to alter it only by fractions of a second. It's very hard to notice on the order of thousands of a second, almost lost in the noise of the churning ocean and the atmosphere. So I wonder what else that means. I wonder if we're heading for doomsday.
Doom!
Yes. Bring it on. Bring it on. In other news, remember that dealership hack that I told you about? There was a cyber attack at CDK Global. This is the software that runs a lot of the dealerships. When you order parts, order cars, do whatever, a lot of them use CDK Global. And it was hit with a crippling cyber attack in June. And they're back on schedule. A lot of them are opening up. A lot of the dealerships, a lot of the places. And I've been personally affected by this. We've tried to get some things done at work. and you get weird looking invoices that are pretty much done on, computers offline and printed offline, and they look like you're back in the early 80s. So that cyber attack was brutal. It was vicious. But it looks like they've got it back going. Coming back online. And I'm wondering if they paid these people, because it was ransomware. From what I understand, it was ransomware. So your dealerships, if you've had to go to a dealership for service or something like that, and it's been a little janky, a little screwed up, you should be good now. You should be good. Hopefully. The cyber attacks can happen. They really can. I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that put a lot of faith in the computers. I mean, I love my computer, and it's been screwing up and being real clanky this past few days, but if it all died tomorrow, I would just go fishing. I'm not going to lie to you. It's one of the reasons I have redundant systems. We're coming back up on the top of the hour. Man, it's hard to believe. This thing just goes so quick. So quick. Keep an eye out this week. This next couple of weeks. Biden's going to address NATO. We got weird things going on all over the planet. Wars, rumors of wars. Ukraine's even starting to creep back in. Gaza, boy, I tell you what, Zelensky had to really been mad because that whole Gaza thing, it just took his spotlight right away. You don't hear a lot about Gaza these days. You don't really hear. The media's kind of been taken off of the whole Gaza, Jerusalem thing. Wonder why. Right now they're focused on Joe Biden and whether he can tie his shoes and if he has to have tapioca every night for his dessert or if he can have green Jell-O. We're being played by the media, folks. And the sooner you understand that, the better off your life's going to be. They push what they want you to think about in your face. And you can always tell. The newest, freshest thing they want you to have in the forefront of your mind gets shoved at you over and over. You can't turn on a TV or radio. You can't turn on anything without them shoving stuff in your face. So when they do that, look behind the scenes. Get smart enough to ignore the front page story and look around at the back page stories. And you wouldn't believe what you learn. You wouldn't believe what you figure out. You wouldn't believe what they're trying to get you to not see. It's a crazy world out there. We got Rick Robinson coming up next. I believe Rick Robinson's coming up next. He's been holding this show up on his computer because I can't get the programs we're using to get this thing to go on Twitter and all the other places. I'm kind of bummed out about it, but we'll figure it out eventually. It's just not working, and I don't know why. Maybe I'll just throw everything away and put my other computer up here next week and see if it does the trick. I don't know. It could be our internet. Our internet's been kind of clanky lately. It's been the speed's been down. But that's all right. I'm still going to be running my mouth. I'm Alan Ray. It's Sunday night with Alan Ray. Keep it locked on KLRNRadio all week. Find us on Twitter, on the X, baby, at KLRNRadio. You can find me on Twitter at TucsonCal65. Making snarky comments, pointing and laughing at people. I like to laugh at idiots. I like to point and laugh at it. And I ignore some of the idiots. I get some of the people that say the most, they reply with the dumbest things. Oh, you must be a MAGA, Trump, Nazi, fascist. I'm like, why? Because I went fishing today? Oh, if they only knew how little I considered their opinions. If the president only knew how they're losing control of this generation coming up. And this warmed my soul. And I got to tell you this before I leave. The kids next door, they're kids. I call them kids. They're mid-20s. Say they graduated with my youngest son. We have known them for years. My wife, especially, because my wife was a band wife, and she was always doing stuff with the band. They were in the girls in band. And they've been married for a few years. She's pregnant. Just this cute little couple. We love them to death. And we've known them. We know their families. And They threw a party last night. They threw a party last night because he had to work July 4th. The guy works constantly. He works like a dog. He's a good man, hardworking man. And I'll tell you what I heard. These are not Biden people, not in any way, shape, or form. They were over there. They had their party going. They had classic rock playing on the radio. The radio was kicked up a bit, but I stuck my head out the door at one point and said, hey, crank it up a bit, man. This is good stuff. Yeah, they lit off fireworks till midnight. I don't care. I used to do it here all the time with my kids. But I can tell you, just by overhearing some of their conversations, by overhearing some of the things they were talking about and partying about, all of these young people at this party, I don't think there were very many of them over there that pull the lever for Joe Biden. And the more I look around, and I told you this when I got back from vacation a couple of weeks ago, I'm seeing the resurgence of nuclear families. I'm seeing the rebirth of these kids that are looking around at all of these freaks who mutilate their genitals, these freaks that cut all their hair off, pierce a million places all over their bodies, tattoo their faces and tattoo their eyelids on, and then expect you to treat them normally. I'm seeing the rebellion against them. I'm seeing the rebellion against the Democrat Party, and it's coming from the most unlikely place. And I personally don't think the Democrats see it yet. I don't think they're going to until it's too late. And I think Gen Z is going to be their downfall and below, because it's just in nature to rebel. It's very natural to rebel against whoever's in power. And I think we're seeing it right now. So don't give up hope. Stay happy. Stay content. Don't get caught up in the doom du jour. Touch grass. Go fishing. Go hunting. Go lay in a field somewhere and look up at the night sky. Sober, if I recommend it. I'm Alan Ray. God bless. We will see you next week. Same bad time, same bad place. Have a great week. We'll talk again soon.